Good
Hey,
morning, Hannah.
Tony.
Hi,
How
Hi
Tony.
are you?
there.
I
Yeah,
Very good.
good.
I'm loving your name. As
thank you.
someone who speaks Italian, Toscano, great name.
I speak
Fabulous.
Italian when I'm in Italy. Not
Yeah,
you know because you have
it's
to.
a
But
great name.
I love your
Yeah.
last name, Waddingham.
Yes, we were just saying it's a very English name that people get wrong here, but for some reason Americans don't. So I'm loving the fact that everyone's saying it right for a change.
Ted Lasso is one of those comedies that comes along once in a while that really is a genuinely funny show because it deals with a lot of heart and a lot of humanity in it. Um, and I think that's what's most attractive to me about this show. How about you?
Me
Jeremy,
too. Totally.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Totally.
I think it's a very rich and nuanced show, and it's not just about the gags, and it's not doing the stuff that the dark thing that people have been doing recently. And it's, I think it's very fresh as well. And it's there's a lot of fun being had with all the American and Brit sensibilities, and where they come together and where they divide. And we both are so very proud to be in the show, and the way it develops is really exciting. And I think even if you're not a sports fan, you'll just get taken up with it.
Well,
I
Hannah,
think my main thing watching the series as a whole, as a viewer, which I always find a little bit difficult. I just thought, especially for the curious time that we are all experiencing globally, it is so charming, and I feel like people are going to feel like they've made a new load of friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
The ball bounces so nicely, whether it's Rebecca and Ted, or Higgins and Ted, or Higgins and Beard and Ted, and it just bounces all over the place, and it's a complete world, and that's really hard to achieve in one season, I think.
I think
Yeah.
there's something very Shakespearean about the humor in this that uh, it's so universal. We're using sports as a metaphor for, as you said, the world. And I think that's where the longevity of this will come from is that universality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And how everyone behind closed doors is a very different person to whom they let you see, with their surname attached.
Jeremy, with your character, do you have a lot of interaction with Bill Lawrence and the writers and all of that to kind of underscore what you're doing?
Yeah, there was a bit of that with the guys on set, and I mean, I I've always wanted to be in an American comedy because there is a kind of looseness, and there is a back and forth between performers and the creatives. So yeah, we had lots of that, and we changed stuff around on the floor, which was really enjoyable to do. It just really keeps it fresh. I actually, I would walk away from a day's shooting and think, I don't know what actually is going to end up because we did
I don't know what I
so many,
said.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know what
so
they'll
many
keep.
variations. Yeah.
Well, in our last seconds that I have, Hannah, do you allow yourself some improv in this?
I do, but Rebecca, as me, I had to shut up a bit because Rebecca is constantly wanting to shut Ted down and limit their friendship. And he's saying, biscuits with the bars. And I'm like, no, stop it.
So it was so much fun watching Jason just go and go and go and go and finding the moment to go and cut it. That was my great fun in my office scenes. And there were some moments when I would literally shut him up and I could see Jason behind just going, well done,
Yeah,
good timing.
yeah, yeah.
Heard someone talking about the Utah Jazz.
Is that right? I watched The Last Dance, and I only know American places by the NBA teams that are affiliated with them. Is that right? Am I right?
You are right. That's all we're good for is sports. Sports and
Don't
entertaining.
play
Those are
yourself
the
down.
two biggest American exports right now.
Yeah, good.
How's
Thank
everyone
you.
doing this morning?
Good.
Yeah, good,
Good.
thank
Thanks,
you. How
man.
about
How are
you?
you?
I'm anxious to talk to you about this great comedy because, as I've said before, um, Ted Lasso isn't a snarky comedy at all. It's a very human, very heartfelt comedy. It's got great writing and a great cast, whom I'm speaking to right now. Um, let's start with ladies first. Let's start with Juno Temple and just talk about being in an ensemble cast like this. What's that like?
Truly inspiring, actually. And it was comedy is something I haven't done a lot of, and I was walking onto a set with people who are really great at comedy but really approach it from a very human place. So actually really made it a comfortable place for me to come into, because I could understand where it was coming from, and they were so patient with me and so helpful, and again, like you said, the writing was so brilliant, and there were moments where you had to try and not laugh out loud and ruin a take, and moments where also you felt emotional watching things that were happening. I felt really moved by things, and I felt so proud to be a part of this extraordinary cast, and I really learned a lot from them, and I am so grateful for every second that I had with each one of them.
I'm going to direct this to you first, and then to Brett, and then to Phil. Do you like your character, Juno? You like
Absolutely loved her, and I really hope some of her kind of lack of judgment and her real belief in people, but also respect for herself and knowing her boundaries are things that I loved about her, and I hope I take on into life a bit more, actually.
Brett, tell me about Roy. Where does he come from? What's his story?
Well, I think with Roy is the aging captain of the team, and I think he knows he's in his last 2 years of playing. His knees are giving up on him, and he used to be a big star, but he's not what he once was. And I think at the beginning of the season, he's pretty miserable and sort of aware he's just kind of grinding into the end. And I don't think he has a plan beyond that. I think he's in quite a dark place, and then Ted Lasso arrives, and he thinks, "Oh, now I'm going to be with a clown. I'm going to end my career with a clown." But then Ted slowly breaks through to him, and I think what's nice about Roy is he kind of he's like a flower, isn't he? Like he sort of it's almost he learns to live again, and I think then that's partly Ted and partly Keeley. But I loved playing it. Yeah, it was great.
That's the most poetic thing I've ever heard you say, Brett, and I loved it.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Phil. Thank you.
remind me, I've got a good Anais Nin quote for you that I think would work for Roy.
That's the perfect match, Roy and Anais Nin.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Win.
Phil, let's talk about Jamie.
Let's. Great, yeah. Jamie is. I'm trying to think of a radio-friendly term. He is an egomaniac. He's been told from a very young age that he's special, and he is. He has huge amounts of talent, and he's one of those players who he believes that he is the center point of the turning world, and then Ted turns up, and he realizes soon that he won't work in this team, and if he's not working as part of the team, then what use is he? Maybe ? Have to watch the series and find out. But it's really brilliant, and it's interesting. You mentioned right at the start there how it's an interesting type of comedy for the period that we find ourselves in terms of entertainment that's being made. I loved Scrubs when I was younger, and obviously Bill Lawrence created that and was part of the script when it was first being made, and was part of the series all throughout. And I think that it really hits a similar note to that, where there is like an optimism and a joy to it, but it's still intricate enough to feel like you're rooting for the characters and you want to continue to watch. And I think that they hit a really beautiful sort of apex there.
Great performances by all of you. It's a great series. And again, Apple TV Plus, don't miss it. One of my favorite comedies of the year. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Tony.
Appreciate that,
Tony.
Tony.
Thanks a lot.
Well, gentlemen, hello. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you, Tony?
I'm so excited about Ted Lasso. What a great show.
Oh, thank you.
Let's start with Brendan, because you're also a series creator on this as well. How does it evolve?
Well, this show in particular evolved out of some ads we did first for NBC's coverage of the premiership years ago, and then from there, when we found out that those were being a little more popular than we thought, we made a second one, and then we found out that those were more popular than we thought, and then basically right from then, Jason's partner Olivia Wilde essentially told him, "You're going to make a series of this. You're going to go to London and you're going to make a series, and that's an order." So the answer to why this happened is Olivia Wilde.
Wow. She's an amazing director as well as an actress. By the way,
100%.
Just saw her.
Booksmart's fantastic.
I just saw her up at Sundance premiering her next film. Nick, let's talk a little bit about your character and what you're doing.
Yeah, so Nathan, or Nate, is he's the groundskeeper at the club, and he starts off pretty shy. People kind of walk all over him. He's bullied a little bit by some of the players, but when Ted arrives, pretty much from the off, he instills some confidence in Nathan, and it's sort of, I guess, over the course of the season, Nathan's confidence grows and grows to the extent that he almost becomes part of Ted's support network. So it was nice, nice that there's a little kind of journey for the character to go on. And so, it was really lots of fun to play.
I think actors look for that. They look for this kind of onion, where you peel it and peel it and peel it. And as the character grows, he gets stronger and seemingly wiser, although he was wise to begin with.
Yeah, he was wise to begin with, but I think lacking in the confidence to sort of let people know how wise he was.
Brendan, let me ask you a little bit about acting, because you're also an actor. Are you, as a writer, empathetic to actors?
No, I despise them, and I despise myself whenever I get in front of in front of a camera. I'm revolted. I mean, I would hope that all writers would be empathetic to actors too, or else there's just going to be unnecessary conflict. But it's fun to do. It's fun to do both things separately, and it's really fun to do both things at the same time. So I'm just really grateful for this whole experience.
Because I do pull from the fact that of your Emmy award-winning stint as the hot dog guy on How I Met Your Mother. I believe that has set a pace now for all other actors. The bar is high.
8 of the most powerful seconds in television history.
But memorable, just memorable. The humor in Ted Lasso is kind of, as I was saying before, it was a throwback to kind of the 1950s, 1960s, that kind of gentle humor that isn't snarky. It is more of, it's got a lot of heart to it. Let's put it that way.
And I think it's, oh, sorry, no, Brendan, you go.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's absolutely, I think it's one of those things that will hopefully make it stand out in a really great, pleasantly surprising way, because, the fashion has been of late for there to be, quite a lot of sort of snarky comedies and, some great ones as well as a result. But it's quite nice to have something where the protagonist has such a positive outlook on life, and it's full of optimism and hope. It feels like a really warm show as a result.
Brendan, I'm going to give you the last word.
Oh, it's intimidating. I mean, I think that's all true, and I think it radiates out from who Jason is, and who the character is. Jason is just a good normal Midwestern stock, and has a good heart, and he comes from a place that is that way. And he's created this character who is grounded yet curious, and just wants people to be heard and to do the best they can.
Well, again, Ted Lasso, I'm going to tell you this. I've seen most of the episodes. It is my favorite situation comedy now of 2020. It is really that good and very heartfelt.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Gentlemen, you have a great day, and thank you for your time.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Bye.
This celebrity interview is sponsored by...
I'm Annette Civarella with Pia Anderson Moss Hoyt, Utah's leading entertainment law firm, serving clients nationwide. We provide solid, attentive representation, focusing on minimizing risk, reducing cost, and protecting the reputation and privacy of our clients. Our goal is to provide you with the legal representation you need to make the right decisions and to protect you and your creative works. Call or email me for a free consultation.